Welcome to the Lean Podcast, where empowerment and alignment come together. I'm your host, Mahogany, here to guide you through inspiring stories of resilience, overcoming grief, health challenges, career struggles, and more. Together, we'll lean into strength, embrace growth, and discover the power of sharing experiences. Before we dive into today's episode, I'd like to start with a prayer. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to join me. Dear God, thank you for this space to uplift, inspire, and empower. Bless the woman sharing her story today and those who are listening. May this podcast be a source of hope, healing, and alignment with your purpose for our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So today with us, you guys, we have Emily Huse out of Oregon. She is 33 years old and a mom of one. Help me welcome Emily. Okay. So, Emily, thank you so much for being here. I know
Thank you
that,
for having me.
yes, this is such an honor. We went to high school together and has stayed in touch through social media all these years. We've been able to watch each other's children grow. We have daughters around the same age, and it's just been so awesome to see you on social media and see your progress and see you flourishing and things like that. So today she's going to share with us a little bit about her life story. Emily has come through and won drug addiction, and she is on the other side of that, living in all the glory that comes with overcoming tough situations and not succumbing to any struggles that we face. So tell us right now, Emily, give us like a little snapshot of where you are now in life. Like, what's your day to day like? Who are you now in this moment?
So right now I am a single mom of one. I am a assistant property manager at one of the buildings that is through the agency that actually got me clean. Um, my day to day is, go to work, get the kid off to school, get her from school, and then dinner, bed. But I play recovery softball also. Uh, so during the softball seasons, we have a lot of, to and from games, uh, tournaments, and um, I would like to get her into some sports soon. She's almost 3. So, but yeah, that's about all we do is work, school, and sports.
I love that. Do you take her with you to softball?
I do. Yeah, she
Was-
loves it. I've played for 2 years now, so she knows a lot of the people, a lot of the kids. They all run around. It's a safe community because it's recovery ball, so everyone's clean and sober and doing the thing all together.
I love that. She's definitely going to pick up some softball.
Yeah,
I know my friend Valerie here, she still plays softball too, and the kids love the fields. It's such a good time out there.
it is
I
such
love
a
it.
good
So
community.
tell us about your childhood. Like, did you play softball during childhood, or what was your childhood?
Um, so I grew up in a single parent household. It was just me and my mom. I was an only child. Uh, my mom worked 2 jobs, so a lot of the time I was with my grandparents. And my grandma passed away when I was 12, and so my whole home dynamic changed. Um, but I didn't start playing sports. I mean, I was a cheerleader in middle school, but I didn't start like playing softball or anything until high school. I just one day wanted to try it. It was my junior year. I had never touched a
Way to
ball in
begin.
my life, and yeah, I really wish I had started sooner because my skills were not where everybody else was as a junior in high school. But I did it for fun, so it was a good thing to get into. It kept me out of trouble in high school. So
Yes. So you started softball your junior year, and did you play junior and senior year? And did you?
I did. Yeah, I did cheerleading freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. I was in band. I played the drums. I did all that through sixth grade to graduation. And then I did softball junior and senior year.
Okay. Do you remember having like, I know you said you grew up with a single parent. Did you feel any absence of your mom at the games and things like that, or did she stay pretty consistent with being involved?
She tried to stay pretty consistent. I think she was at almost every game, whether it be for cheer, for basketball or football. or softball. She made it to almost everything.
That's a blessing. I know a lot of
Yeah.
times single moms, it's a struggle. It's like work, putting food on the table, or the kids, like having to make
Yeah.
a choice.
And I get it now too. I didn't get it then, but I get how exhausting it is now. And my kid's only 3. We haven't even started all that yet.
Right. It's like, so do you feel like your mom dedicated her whole life to raising you?
Yeah. Whether it be even when I was with my grandparents, she was just working and doing the best she could with what she had. And um, I, as a child, took it for granted, didn't understand it. But like I said, I get it now. And she really worked her butt off to take care of me. So
I love that. What's y'all's relationship like now?
she's doing really good. She also has some sober time. And so we relate with that. She got sober for my kid, which is great. Or for herself first, of course, but she really didn't want, she saw what I was about, how I wanted to be clean and sober for my kid. And so she got on the wagon with me. And um, yeah, we hang out every weekend. She dedicates a day to come over and I make dinner or she buys dinner or whatever. And she just plays with my daughter and gives me a second to maybe shower by myself. So it's cool.
That's awesome. When did your mom get into her substance addiction?
Probably before I was born. I don't really, I didn't really know. I mean, she was sober for a year when I was younger. Um, and then you know, the devil, the evil came back and, but she's overcome it now. I think she's got 9 months sober. So
Wow, what a blessing. That's really
I
awesome.
know I'm so excited for her. Just for her, like it didn't really, she was still functioning. She still worked really hard, did all the things, didn't, she owns her house, her car, all that. But, I just, some people don't make it, before they pass away and get to enjoy the life without the excess of substances and stuff. So
Mm-hmm. That's so true. I know you said that she was still really functioning and able to still handle her business. Did you ever know as a child that she was battling with those things?
I didn't consider it a battle at the time because it just seemed to be normal. Like she wasn't falling over, doing anything. Like she never got in trouble. And she stayed home and she wasn't, you know, doing it irresponsibly in a sense, but I just thought that was what grown-ups did.
Mm-hmm. So you really looked at it more like as a norm and it wasn't a big deal because it wasn't interfering with any of your emotions or anything you had to do.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
okay. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so your childhood, so your junior year playing softball, you're doing cheer, you're doing all the things. In your senior year, you graduate. Is that correct?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, so you
Thank goodness.
graduated. Thank God.
Somehow.
All right. All right. So when did you find yourself falling into your battles with drug addiction?
So it actually started in middle school. Um, I think my battle with addiction became I didn't it wasn't necessarily substances, right? Like it came from wanting to fit in. My addiction was to people. And so but in middle school I was in drug and alcohol counseling by the 8th grade. I got caught drinking and smoking marijuana. Um And so I was in drug and alcohol counseling for the rest of my 8th grade year. And then I kind of put that to the side, I guess, once high school came around. Like, I mean, I still drank and stuff on the weekends and partied, but it wasn't at school necessarily. I think in middle school, maybe my freshman year, I think I brought some alcohol to school, but again, I was just trying to fit in. It wasn't anything that like I needed or felt addicted to. I was just trying to be cool. And but so I did those things. I think my sophomore year, no, my junior year is when I I only drank at parties. I quit smoking weed, and that's when I really dove into sports. Um, I didn't try hard drugs until I was 19, so
Okay.
if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, because being an eighth grader and already kind of showing those signs, you probably were like, okay, well, next, I guess the next on to the next. That's really
Oop.
awesome how you're able to take that time where you stopped and the fact that you're able to identify that it wasn't the substance that you were needing, it was more so being validated by others. So where do you believe, or have you even thought about like what was the stem root cause of you needing to feel accepted or cool or accepted by people? Do you know like what happened to make you feel that void?
Um, I think a lot of it had to do with my weight. I was a heavier set child, uh, and teased a lot for my weight, and I just wanted to fit in, and I lost a bunch of weight between my sophomore and junior year, probably 50 pounds. And then I felt good, and so I thought, and I think also middle school and high school are really vulnerable times, um, for male and female. You're trying to find who you are, you're trying to find your crowd, you're trying to, see what life is about. You think you're an adult and you're not.
Hmm.
Yeah, at least I did. So, um, yeah, I guess just trying to feel accepted and feel wanted, or I don't know if that came. I mean, my grandparents were there. Like I said, my mom did everything she could at the time, but she was working a lot, and I never met my dad. So
Hmm.
just trying to find where I fit in at home and at school.
Right. Okay, so your father was absent as well. So you
Yeah,
didn't have him part of your life.
no.
Did you know who he was?
I knew his name was Kevin Hart. I didn't. I that's all I knew. And
Kevin, come get your daughter.
I want to be rich. um, I back then social media wasn't such a big thing. And the only Kevin Hart that pulled up was the comedian, of course. So uh it was I think 20 I was 24 that when I finally found out, like, well, 24 was when I found out he passed away. But he my mom knew that we tried to go find I'm trying to think how that went. We tried to go find his parents' house, and they had just moved. And so I just never really had the opportunity to go any further than that because we didn't know where he was between here, California. It had been, you know, 15, 20 years before. Um, and, in that time span, anything can happen. You can move
Right.
anywhere in the world.
Literally.
So, yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. So take us back to you being 19 and you trying hard drugs for the first time. What hard drugs were they and how were you approached with that?
Um, I tried cocaine at a party, and I wasn't impressed really. I mean, it was cool, but it didn't hook onto me until I was probably 24. And I think I just tried it to try it. Uh, I did try what they call fizz or whatever. I don't remember what age I was. I think it was around the same time. Um, and my friend ended up getting drug tested for a job after doing that, and it tested positive for meth. So then I found out that was cut with meth. And that scared me because I didn't know about those things yet. And so it kind of deterred me, honestly. But I, once I was going to college full time, and this is later, this is when I was 24. I don't know if you want me to skip to that
Yeah,
part
you
yet,
can keep
but
going. You can keep going.
okay. So I was with my boyfriend at the time, was my high school sweetheart. And um, he had type 1 diabetes, and he was really sick. He had had it since he was 6 months old, so it really took a toll on his body. Um, and so I was taking care of him. I had just bought a house. This was also when my grandpa passed away. So my grandma's already passed at when I was 12. My dad passed when I was 24. My grandpa passed when I was 24. I had bought my grandparents' house, and like I said, I was taking care of my boyfriend at the time. I was working multiple jobs. I think I had three jobs. Um, and I was in college. So I was dead tired. I was so tired. And this guy that worked with my ex, or my boyfriend at the time, he introduced us again to cocaine. And he would front us some, and then like I could do some and sell some enough to profit to do the next round, right? So that became a daily use. Um, and I think it was my birthday. I ended up doing all of the product. So it wasn't, I didn't have anything to pay him back. And and then my boyfriend's uncle gave us meth, and we were getting that for free. So that's where the meth addiction came in. Um, Plus the high is a lot longer and it's a lot cheaper. So it was a quick and easy transition. I had done the cocaine for 2 years straight, and then like I said, I switched to meth. So uh, let's see. So I was about 26 when I started doing meth, and I was still in college. I was a preschool teacher,
Mm,
and I have so much shame around that. But I also worked in supervised visitation, uh, which is also really embarrassing. But I didn't see it being a problem. I was kind of like, not that it wasn't my mom that made me think this, but I relate it to like my mom was functioning, I'm functioning. I graduated college with honors. I'm doing the thing, I'm working full time, taking care of the house, and what's the problem?
mm-hmm,
Um, the problem became I so I got 9 months behind on my mortgage. Um, I was going to work high. I ended up, it was around Christmas time, 2018. It was December 19th, 2018. I remember this to the day. Uh, I went to Walmart. It was like 3 in the morning, and I needed Christmas presents for my family. I didn't have the money because everything I was spending was either, I mean, I was kind of keeping up on some bills, but not my mortgage. And I was buying drugs. And so um, I went to Walmart to steal some Christmas presents, and I got caught. And the manager that was working there was a parent from her daughter was in my class at the preschool. So that was really embarrassing. And it went from a theft to a possession, a felony possession, uh, because I had some in my purse. So I went to jail, and I remember feeling like this is it. Like I have screwed up my entire life now. Now I have felony charges. I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't call anybody. I just sat in there miserable for I don't even know. I was there. I got out Christmas Eve, so I was there for 5 days. But I remember going to court and like chained to other people. It's just so it's more than humbling. It's mortifying. I'm chained to the next person. I'm walking in the courtroom, and you're not allowed to look up at people. But I just kind of like glanced up with my eyes, and I see my mom, and I just lost it. Like I didn't cry, but I wanted to so bad because I didn't want to let her down. Um, and she was, I, I couldn't tell if she was crying or if she was just wanting to leap across the room. Uh, anyway, so I did get out on Christmas Eve. Um, and I did plead guilty to my felonies. I ended up having to go into my work and say, I have a problem and I worked there for 8 years. And they knew, but they didn't know. Like they had no proof, but they had an idea. Uh, so I had to just humble myself and walk into the office and say, I have a problem. I need to go take care of myself and try to bow out as graceful as possible. Um, they obviously already knew because of the parent being the manager at Walmart. But yeah, so within 6 months, so I graduated. I forgot to let me backtrack a little bit. I graduated college with honors, like I said, but that was 6 months prior to all this. So I graduated college, fell behind on my mortgage, went to jail, lost my job. So everything crumbled within 6 months.
Wow.
Um, so I I didn't want to get clean. I didn't know how to get clean. Um, I felt like I had just ruined my whole entire life. Like I knew I was losing my house, and I didn't think that there was life after a felony. Like I didn't know you could be rehired or do anything. Um, and so I kind of just got the case of the efforts and stopped caring. So I came out to Oregon, chose to be essentially homeless, couch hopping, garage hopping, car hopping. I mean, wherever I could find a place to sleep. Um, and that's really when my addiction spiraled out of control. So I was in and out of jail. I can't even tell you how many times I made it to, I don't say made it like in a good way, but I made it to 10 counties in 3 years.
Mm.
And so, yeah.
So with you hopping around, what was your connection like with your family at that time or your friends? Had all that kind of changed, or were you still staying in touch and like playing it off like, oh yeah, I'm good? Or like, how was your relationship during that period with everyone?
Um, my mom, my mom enabled, not on purpose, but she didn't know no different. So uh, we kept a okay relationship, but a lot of the time I would back off. I didn't want her to see me like that. And then when I needed money, then I'd ask, oh, hey, mom, how are you? Can I borrow $5? And, but she finally, I'm really proud of her. She even went to some classes and watched YouTube and joined some like Facebook pages that were for parents of child addicts. And so she built her support and figured out that she had to make her tough decision of stop enabling me. So a lot of the time it was just her checking in, hey, I just want to make sure you're okay. And then, not giving me no money. She would give me like cans or some food. And yeah. So that was it was hard, but I understand now why she had to do what she had to do. And I didn't really have friends that weren't addicts back then. So, I mean, anyone that I was friends with prior to my addiction, I didn't have any contact with. They saw that I went to jail and stuff, so they just ended there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I've made a lot of reconnections now, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you must have been, I guess, going through that phase of life, seeing your mom's Facebook posts, like crying out, has anyone seen Emily? I've been trying to get in touch with her. Can y'all just please pray for my daughter? And I remember, I can't remember where I was in my life at that point, but I would go and I would like stalk her page and stalk your page, and I'd be praying and I'd be like, what? Not Emily, because you're the preppy cheerleader girl. Like you're not like. So
Yeah,
I remember seeing that. I know that for mom's heart, it takes a lot to like get desperate. But I remember I was praying for you, girl. I would see those
thank you.
posts and I would inbox you too. I think a couple times, like, hey, I saw your mom's poster. I don't know what's going on, but essentially I'm praying for you. Things like that. Wow.
I half the time I was so out of it that like I'd see them, not necessarily the messages, because half the time I didn't have a phone, but uh, on my mom's posts, I remember feeling like, and I feel so bad now. I'm so grateful for everyone that reached out and prayed and kept me in their thoughts and well wishes. And before I was just like, I'm fine. I've got this, don't
Yeah.
mind me.
You're
But
you're so ambitious. So, you're so ambitious to be that young, holding on, taking care of someone, a mortgage, college, like jobs. That's a lot for a young person. What ended up happening to your boyfriend that was sick?
so we parted ways. It was for the better. I mean, like we both needed our relationship was crumbling under the drugs, and so and we couldn't get clean together. And he ended up moving with his mom, and he actually was in a nursing home for a while at the age of 26. So he was really, really sick, and I wasn't in a space to take care of him, or he wasn't in a space to take care of himself either. So I think it was for the better. We'd been together 10 years. It was hard, but it just wasn't right. So,
Is he still living?
yes, yeah, he's doing well. He lives in Vegas, I think. So, we still talk once in a while. He'll like message me, hey, just want to check in.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your breaking point? Like, what was the last time? What was your low? I know they say that a lot of times we have to hit our low to get back up. So, what was your breaking point? What was your low? And the last time that you did use, what was that like?
Um, so my low, I was living in Salem, was in a relationship for a year with an abusive partner. Um, I didn't know how to get out, right? Like we had moved to Salem where he knew everybody and I knew nobody. So it was like the isolation effect where he had full control. Uh, I had found out that I was pregnant and I was terrified to leave. Um, the week I found out I was pregnant, so right before I found out I was pregnant, I we got into it and I got knocked out inside the Winco, and nobody asked, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" You know, I think one person was like, "Are you good?" And I was like, "Don't mind me getting up off the floor," and I gotta anyway. So yeah, so that was a really big low. And so 2 days later, I found out I was pregnant, and we had come to the agreement like, you know, it's different when it's one on one, but now there's a baby involved. Like we got to keep our hands to ourselves. And of course, that didn't happen. And I found myself feeling really desperate, feeling really lost. I didn't know what to do. Um, I didn't want to lose my baby. Everything that I had ever like wanted was to be a mom. And so I waited for him to go to sleep at like 4 in the morning. I went and hid in a bush. I left everything. And I called my friend from Portland and I was like, please, please come get me. I'm done for the last time. Like I had asked them to come get me so many times and called them back. Oh, he said sorry, never mind. And it's gonna be different this time. And so they came and got me. I came back out to Portland. But Portland was also where most of my addiction had happened. And so I was in the same, uh, they say people, places, and things are what keep you down. And so I was in the same environment with the same people doing the same thing. And I had always said, like, as soon as I get pregnant, I'll stop. And that wasn't the case. Uh, I really struggled with guilt around that and how I was going to get clean going forward. So I got into an outpatient counseling for drug and alcohol addiction. And that wasn't enough. I was still really struggling. Um, I couldn't pee clean. I kept just going in and saying, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to do, you know? So I had warrants out of Washington and warrants out of Oregon. And I told my outpatient counselor, I'm done. Like, I either need to go to jail, turn myself in, or I need to go to inpatient treatment. And that was my acceptance. And I feel like that was where I hit my breaking point of um, knowing that my life needed to change or I was not going to be able to keep my child. And I was just going to keep doing the same insanity in and out of jail, uh, being homeless and doing all those things that I didn't want to do anymore or teach my kids that those are okay. So
Wow. Do you remember the date the last time you used? Or is
10/5/21.
10/5/21?
That's
Wow.
my clean date. So
That's a blessing. I love
I
that so
just
much.
took 3 years in October. Yeah.
3 years in October.
Yep. Thank you.
Excellent, girl. Excellent. Like you said earlier, not everyone makes it out on the other side.
Okay. So,
Tell us about treatment and where you went from there.
all right. So like I said, I told my outpatient counselor those things. She ended up getting, or she like referred me to multiple inpatients. But there's very limited inpatients for people who are pregnant. And I ended up, let's see, I got a call. It was 5 days, I think, before my birthday. And they said, oh, we have a bed opening up. It'll open up in a month. And I got off the phone and I was like, okay, like I got a month. And unfortunately, my priorities were really messed up at the time. And my excitement was not to go to treatment, but that I still had a month to get high. Uh, I also was afraid a little bit because I was coming up on halfway through my pregnancy, and I knew that that's when you're an addict, they test your baby's meconium, and it can go all the way back to 20 weeks. And I didn't want my baby to test dirty. And that month would have given me, you know, just enough time where there's a potential for her to test dirty or me to have a DHS case. And so my mind was running. I still had no self motivation to get clean. But a couple days, 5 days later on my birthday, they called and said, "Oh, we have a bed opening up sooner." She's like, "I can get you in 5 days." And that I lost it. Started bawling, and I was like, "Okay, like this is the end. Like I have to be done." So I went a little off the wall for those 5 days, but I was with this guy, and this was not her dad. It was some guy that I just met. And he took me around town for those 5 days. We got hotel rooms. We did all kinds of things that were, like I said, just living my best life on those last 5 days.
Hmm.
And he was like, "But I am going to get you to treatment. And I'm going to take you there, whether you're kicking and screaming or what." I said, "Okay, like I can do that." So the day I was supposed to get into treatment, I made every excuse like everybody does. Oh, my tire's flat. Oh, my car won't start. Oh, this, whatever. Um, but I got there. I was an hour late, but I got there. And there was probably four stairs to that building. And those were the hardest steps I've ever had to walk up. Um, and scariest too. And I got in and I remember certain faces. I was really out of my mind because like I said, I did everything I could in those 5 days. But um, I just remember feeling like I don't know if it was a breath of relief, um, just so many different feelings at the same time: fear, mad, sad, scared. But I remember they brought me like, "Are you hungry?" I was like, I'm starving. I'm absolutely starving. I can't tell you the last time I ate. And so she brought me like a plate of spaghetti and then I did my intake and I got to see my room. Like they had made my bed and things that I hadn't had in so long. Um, just a bed and a dresser. They had things for me there where I could put my clothes and not have to live out a backpack or a suitcase. And God, it makes me want to cry right now. It's just like so grateful, you know? Um, yeah, so I was there for 5 months and I finally sat down and really like accepted that they have a method to their madness. Like they're not here to be mean or make my life hell. And I took everything I could in those 5 months. And I had my daughter 3 weeks before I graduated. And
Mhm.
she came out and tested clean. So everything worked out the way it was supposed to. And I got really blessed in the path that was chosen for me.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. I know, like you were saying, those are the only 4 steps, but they're the hardest steps you'd ever had to take. But on the other side was like so beautiful.
Yeah, so amazing.
I love that so
So
much for you. I really do.
thank you.
And especially about your baby being clean. I know you had been worried about that. Um, so the fact that you got that call, like, hey, we have some earlier, it's like, wow, see that perfect alignment of everything worked out in your favor.
It really was. I was so grateful. And like, you know, I struggle. I'm still working on my higher power part. Um, and that's my own journey, right? But I when I think about those things and I think about how blessed I am to be where I'm at, there's something way bigger than me that has such a better plan for me than I think I have for myself.
Always, always. Always. Our plans are so mediocre compared to the master plan, the one that we're like,
Oh,
that's why when I was like, I see you on stages telling people about this. You're like, what? Girl, don't
thanks, bye.
underestimate. I didn't think I'd be right here making a podcast, that's for sure.
Look at you killing it.
Wow. Well, thank you. So tell us about like recovery. What really stood out to you to stay in recovery? Because I know sometimes people make it to recovery, but they leave. I know you had your baby to stay for. Outside of her, did you have anything else that was like pulling you to stay and continue the journey?
So, when I had her and I graduated, I got into this halfway house for people on or women on parole and probation. I was there for 4 months, but I didn't. I was in treatment during COVID, so I hadn't gone to any in-person NA meetings. I hadn't done anything outside of like we got to walk to Fred Meyer and a walk to Pod Pantry once a week, and so I didn't know how to do the recovery thing when I got out. And luckily, I had made a friend in there that she graduated before me, and I called her just lost again. Here we are, lost with a brand new baby, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm bored. I need to get out of this house. Uh, I don't know these people here. I'm feeling really weird. And she was like, "Oh, well, let's go. You know, there's an NA event. Let's go to play bingo." And I was like, "Okay." So I started to pick up on things that were fun. Like I used to think drugs were fun and running amok was fun and crime was fun. And now I'm like, bingo's fun and going to these events that NA holds all over the world. We go to conventions, we do camping trips, we do beach trips, all kinds of things. And it's more so for our kids also, you know, like bringing our kids into the positivity that we are doing. And like I said, the recovery softball. So number one, I did get clean for my kid. They also say that kids can't keep you clean, and that's true. But I also feel like the community, um, the blessings that kept happening, like I went from feeling like I could never have a job or a home or anything again to now I have, well, I stayed within, so the program I went through was Central City Concern, and I lived in their housing since I got out of treatment. I live in their housing now
Mm-hmm.
and I work for their company. So
Wow.
it's a full circle of uh, it's I really have a lot owed to Central City Concern. I owe my life to them, but it's also, um, oh, I was saying that I just have all these things that I never thought I could get again. I don't want to lose them again. And I definitely don't want to lose them with my child. Like I can imagine the pain or struggles that people go through doing that with a kid in tow.
Hmm. It's heavy stuff. I'm so happy that you found a community with such positivity that accepts you and your baby. And I absolutely love that you're working for the community that helped you get to where you are. That's like paying it forward. That's so beautiful. I really do love that. Especially because, like you're saying, there was not a whole lot of programs for pregnant women to go recover. So I feel like you could pick up a lot of things while you're there to learn. Because who knows, you might have to go and start some up if it keeps like
Yeah.
being this, far and in between.
And
Wow.
there's a lot of states that don't have these uh, blessings too, as far as like, I feel like Oregon has a lot more recovery scene than a lot of other places.
Right.
When I tried to get clean in Vancouver, there was only a couple.
Mm. I'm glad they have them in Portland because we know. We
Because
know.
we need them in Portland.
We need them in Portland.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thanks for talking us through your recovery. So, you being here on the other side of all these things that you've overcome, what would be your advice to your younger self or someone who's going through this currently?
Don't give up. As many times as it takes, just keep trying. Like I didn't get clean the first time I went to treatment. I can't tell you how many times I tried different things to get clean. That was just this last one was my success, thank goodness. Um, and there's so much more life on the other end. Uh, like I said, when I didn't think I could get all these things again, here I am with a car, an apartment, a job, and learning new skills that I didn't feel worthy of. So there's so much more to life, and it's so much easier to stay clean than it is to get high.
So you're saying it is easier to stay clean than it is to get high. Can you elaborate on that for us? Why is it that way?
For me, getting high meant going to any length to get high, whether that be sell my body, go rob, steal, cheat, whatever, um, just to obtain a high that would maybe last a day. And then I'd have to do it all over again the next day. It's a full time job, it's a 24/7 job. And not to mention the dangers and the pain that you put other people through. So I feel like staying clean, like my 9 to 5, my little humble, quiet, peaceful life is so much easier than, and I stay grateful every time it rains outside, every time it's snowing or hot or any of the extremes. Like, I do not miss trying to find a place to stay, living in a broke down car, living in a tent, living wherever, trying to find a place to shower or having to steal your food. I do not miss that.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, getting clean sucks at the time, or it did, I thought, um, because you have to cut off those people that I feel like, what's that word? Not living amends, but grieving the living is really hard. That was a thing I struggled with, was cutting off people that I thought were my best friends. And they still are. They're good people. We just we can't right now. We can't be close right now because I have to go this way. And until you can come this way, unfortunately, we're not safe to be around.
Hmm.
Um, so I struggled with that. And I just think it's just, what was I saying? It was a breath of, no, that's what I was saying. Go ahead. Sorry. I got
Fine.
sidetracked.
You can always edit. It's all good. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that advice and your story altogether. I know that it's not easy going public with information because you never know how people will want to take it or use it. But just know that you're in a safe space here. And anyone listening, feel free to reach out to Emily. She's having a on fire passion for helping women who are going through these seasons because she's not alone. You're not alone. And you never know how your story is going to help someone. So we need you on the other side. Okay. Well, Emily,
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you hopping on. It's been a blessing. I wish you many more blessings in your life. And I can't wait to interview you again and see where you're at.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning into Lean. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to take on whatever challenges come your way. If this conversation resonated with you, make sure to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And don't forget to share it with someone who could use a little extra encouragement. The Lean podcast thrives because of listeners like you. So let's continue to build this community. Drop a comment, leave a review, and let us know what topics you'd love to hear more about. And if you haven't yet, be sure to join our Facebook group, the Ladies Empowerment and Alignment Network, where the conversation and support continues every day. Until next time, keep leaning into growth, empowerment, and alignment. Thanks for being a part of the Lean community.